This is Jen Taylor Skinner, the host and creator of the Electorette podcast. And I have a new podcast series called The Gatekeepers. The Gatekeepers is a limited episode series created in collaboration with Dame Magazine. And it asks the question, who owns public space? The Gatekeepers examines the policing of public space throughout history. And I was inspired to create the series by some more recent viral news stories where Black and brown people were being confronted in public spaces and expected to prove that they belong. It's part personal essay and part documentary. Please listen to the sneak peek of an upcoming episode. And if you enjoy it, please subscribe by searching for The Gatekeepers in your favorite podcast app. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this preview. In the summer of 1919, an intense heat wave overtook Chicago. And on one Sunday in July, temperatures reached the mid-90s, and Chicagoans flocked to the shores of Lake Michigan, including 17-year-old Eugene Williams. Eugene Williams and a group of his friends decided to go for a swim along the beaches of Lake Michigan. But because this was 1919, the beaches along Lake Michigan in Chicago were, of course, segregated. And there wasn't a formal segregation of the beaches. There were no markings or signs indicating which areas were designated for whom, but it was known, by some at least, that the 29th Street Beach was designated for whites and the 25th Street Beach was for blacks. But somehow, and it isn't clear how exactly, Eugene Williams drifted to the white part of the beach. And one white beachgoer, a white man, spotted him. And he began hurling rocks at Williams. And he pelted the teenager until he drowned. When the police arrived, several black witnesses identified the white man who was responsible for Williams' death, but the police didn't arrest him. So things at the beach began to escalate, and there was a skirmish. So the police finally did make an arrest, but they arrested a black man instead. The incident at the beach and the murder of Eugene Williams sparked a violent summer of race riots in Chicago. It was so violent, in fact, that it was dubbed the Red Summer. And when I think about the scene at the beach that day and the fact that regular citizens stepped in to make sure that the beach remained segregated, I'm reminded of the ways in which similar spaces are policed today. 100 years later, Black and brown people are still harassed at beaches and at public pools, at campgrounds and at parks. They're asked to show proof of permits or to present their ID. And it's not just recreational spaces. It's happening on college campuses, it's happening in coffee shops, at work and at home. Every day, a new video surfaces of someone being questioned or harassed or accosted because someone else has decided that they don't belong. There is a pattern of Black and brown citizens being policed in public and private spaces by other citizens. White citizens are still policing public and private spaces and ensuring that those spaces remain segregated. They're acting as unofficial gatekeepers of space. From Dame Magazine and the Electorette, I'm Jen Taylor Skinner, and this is The Gatekeepers, a podcast examining the history behind the policing of Black and brown people from public space and how those spaces are still policed today.
People says for months, 3 women who are white repeatedly called Detroit police on him for working on a garden in an old park on the city's east side.
Richardson says the confrontation was shocking.
Time stopped, everything stopped.
But we have a story tonight about a swim club in suburban Philadelphia accused of refusing to let a group of summer camp children swim there because they are black.
Marcus Allen is one of many children who say they heard grown-up white members of the club making racist remarks. There was concern that a lot of kids would change the complexion and the atmosphere of the club.
Then we must not be in America. I don't know what world they're in, but there's a multitude of colors in America.